More phone calls coming up, 877-3DP Show. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Twitter handle @DP Show. He is the pride of Rollins College. He's Christopher Mad Dog Russo, host of Mad Dog Unleashed on Sirius XM 82. Also co-host on First Take on Wednesdays. How you feeling?
Very good there. Pride of Rollins College. I haven't heard that about the Rollins College Stars in a long time.
Yeah.
Got there in 1978. How you doing there, Danny boy?
I'm doing great, and I want to play to your strengths here because I know you love your tennis,
right?
And I know that men's final that this is an all-timer, and maybe it leads to these two being all-timers as well. So I'll let you have the stage to give us your passion.
Well, I think that from a match standpoint, I think the center played so well in that fifth set. I think was very, very important. I think if he kind of fell apart in the fifth set and he got broken in the first game and say lost a routine one, I think everybody would remember the fact that he had the 3 match points and lost it in the fourth set. The fact that he played so well in the fifth and was actually 2 points away from winning at 15-30, 5-6 when Alcaraz was serving, I think, puts this at a higher level than normal. Now, the tiebreaker was so dominant by Alcaraz because he was so good. So maybe that comes down a notch. But, every match is going to be compared, Dan, as you know, the greatness of these finals to Federer and Nadal in 2008 when, 9-7 in the fifth in the darkness at Wimbledon. But this match is, it was again, the personalities aren't quite the same. Those two were, all-time greats when they played that classic, in London. But this was an incredible match. The fact they didn't take a bathroom break, they gave each other line calls, 5 hours and 28 minutes. There was just a lot. I mean, you didn't know who was going to win until the very end. I mean, Federer was fighting uphill the whole way through. I mean, Alcaraz, once he got that third set, won the third set and then won a fourth set tiebreaker, you thought he was going to win. Then here comes Sinner. I mean, it was an all-timer. I mean, it really was. So, for a guy like me, I sat there at 9 o'clock. I had golf ready to go at 1:30. I had to pass on golf, which bothered me, and I blew off my threesome, which I'm sure they weren't pleased about. But how could I leave? Match was over at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. How could I leave? I loved it. I thought, I don't know how you feel about it. You love the sports like I do, the niche sports, and this is a niche sport, tennis. I thought it was the second best event I've seen this year. I think McIlroy's Sunday at the Masters was number one, where he had to win that, the pressure on him, the playoff with Rose, and I think this was number two. The difference with the McIlroy one was that was really only about McIlroy. This was about the both tennis players. Really wasn't that much about Justin Rose. It was really about McIlroy. Could he get rid of the demons? This was about both. So, I think this is 1-2 for the year as far as sports are concerned. I'm not going to count Bills Chiefs because that to me was a last year's season scenario. But I loved it. I'm sure you did too. You love these sports. I loved it from that standpoint.
Yeah, and I go back to, I'm trying to think first time that I met McEnroe and first time I interviewed him. But I used to go out to that tournament on Long Island. And yeah, so I would go out there and, Lendl had the great line because I would say, how come you're so successful against McEnroe? And he goes, it's so easy. Forehand, backhand, winner. And I went, forehand, backhand, winner. And he was so matter of fact about that because he just was, he was that robotic type. Didn't have personality. Martina was different, but she had a personality as well. But, when Chris Everett was there and, I was in New York, so I was able to cover, we would do U.S. Open or, the Virginia Slims. One of my first dates, I took my wife to the Virginia Slims, and it's Hana Monlikova is playing. And I remember my wife's talking during the match, and Hana Monlika is getting ready to serve, and she looks over, and I said to my wife, I said, you got to be quiet. And then, so, that, I didn't scold her, but Hana Monlika.
But you got the point, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to go to Forest Hills all the time my mother used to take me to Forest Hills all the time in the late 60s, the grass courts at Forest Hills. And Lendl's got more of a personality than you think. He's a good interview, Lendl.
Back then he wasn't. Back then he was
you
not.
Get Lendl on, he'll give you something.
Yes.
He'll give you He lives up where we live, up here.
Yeah. Like
Listen,
Vitas Gerulaitis
great.
has a great personality, just didn't have the game that go along with a great personality. He would
I
say
agree.
really talented, but he was a fun guy to be around.
Yeah, beat Arthur Ashe the year Ashe. Ashe beat Connors, and the next year, Gerulaitis beat Ashe in the first round. I think he beat him 8-6 in the fifth. I also like the tiebreaker scenario too there, Dan. We haven't really seen it in the Grand Slams in a fifth set yet. I like the first to 10 over first to 7.
Yeah.
I think, to me, that's fairer. It's like playing a set. It's like playing a half a set. So I like that too. Listen, I understand it's a niche sport. I don't want to sit there and say that the whole world had to pay attention to this. I'm sure the rating wasn't great. But from a sporting perspective, and you are, have a lot more experience in national TV and all this stuff than I do. You're a little older than me. I hate to tell you that. You're a little older than me. But you appreciate all the greatness of all the sports. And I think you probably appreciate something what you saw there on Sunday afternoon, too.
Christopher Mad Dog Russo, host of Mad Dog Unleashed on Sirius XM 82. You can see him with Stephen A. on ESPN's First Take on Wednesdays. I'm trying to understand the Jason Kidd situation. You have Cooper Flagg coming to town. Generational talent, I think.
Absolutely.
Now you're asking for permission, or there's mutual interest in you coaching the Knicks, and the only reason why I think he'd be interested is that you're getting Giannis, that Giannis would want to play with Jay Kidd. But why would you want to leave Dallas? I mean, I know he spent a little time in his career with the Knicks, but not enough where you go, boy, he's one of the all-time Knick greats. But why would you leave Dallas to go to the Knicks unless you were getting Giannis, Chris?
Yeah, I don't think Milwaukee's going to trade Giannis to the Knicks, same conference. I don't think that's going to happen. I think San Antonio is possible. What do the Knicks have to give the Bucks that they can build around? I mean, if you trade Giannis, you got to get, Castle and a couple of picks from San Antonio. You got to do what Oklahoma City did when they traded Anthony and got SGA. I mean, you can't. What do you want, Karl Anthony Towns? What's that going to do you? So that doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm with you 100%. Now, maybe Kidd feels he's more money involved. Maybe there's not a lot of love with the whole thing with Dallas because he didn't want Luka to be traded. I mean, I don't love Kidd anyway. I wouldn't go near him if it was my team. I know him and Brunson, so I'm not saying he wouldn't be a bad choice, but he doesn't appeal to me. But overall, your point is well taken. I mean, Cooper Flagg he's 17 years old, 18 years old. I mean, unless we got it all wrong, he is going to be a great NBA player. And you got him for the next 12, 13 years. I mean, why would you not want to coach him? The Knicks don't have anybody like that. I mean, the Knicks are older. I mean, it's an easier conference, but I mean, why wouldn't you want to deal with Flagg? You're going to get Kyrie back. You got a good front court. You got a lot of young players in that front court. Davis has got a year or two left. I'm with you 100%. The Knicks job would not be that attractive to me, and I wouldn't want to work for Dolan anyway. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Dolan is the guy who fired Thibodeau. I mean, I don't think it was Leon Rose. I think this is just me. I don't know. I think Dolan said, I just don't want to coach my team anymore. And Rose had to do the dirty work. But I wouldn't want to work for him. So from that standpoint, now I know he played for Dolan, so maybe there's a kinship there. But overall, your point is well taken. Why would you want to leave the Mavericks? And it's a good organization. Despite the trade, it's a good organization, and they got the first pick in the draft. It's a good place to coach. You sort of get a little overshadowed by the Cowboys, which is good. The media is not going to be as rough on you. To me, I wouldn't leave. But it sounds like he's going to go. And I don't know about you. I don't think the Bucks. He's got 2 years left in his contract, not one. Why would the Bucks trade him to the Knicks for Karl Anthony Towns and a draft pick? Why would you do that? Shop him around to a team in the West to get a lot of young players. And San Antonio is perfect because they would probably give you Castle, and they probably would give you the 2nd and the 14th pick in the draft. That's what I would do if I was Milwaukee wanting to trade Giannis myself. That's what I would do.
I mentioned this morning to start the show, stumbled upon this where social media was talking about LeBron James, that he doesn't have a signature move. Now, the expression was that he doesn't have the bag of tricks. And I said, isn't that more remarkable that he doesn't have a signature move and he scored 40,000 points?
I totally agree with you, 100%.
But can you remember, though, Chris, somebody of this magnitude who has been criticized as much as LeBron has? I mean, Brady was criticized a lot, but there seems to be downright hatred for LeBron.
I think there's jealousy because, he was such a phenom out of high school. I think there's jealousy because he was anointed the next Jordan right away, and that bothered people. Obviously, going away the way he went to Miami and joining Miami didn't, that was an issue too. But he's always stayed out of trouble. He's never gotten himself in any kind of hot water off the court per se. He gives you everything he's got. I mean, listen, he's not as good as Jordan. That's just me. He's the best 40-year-old of all time. But in if I had to take one, I would take Jordan. But I agree with you. He takes a lot of who cares what sort of signature move he has. He won 2 championships. He's won 4 titles. I mean, all right, he doesn't have the sky hook like Kareem. I mean, I get it. Big deal. Doesn't have the dip, the dip shot like Chamberlain had. Big deal. A little finger roll. Jordan's step back. He doesn't have that. I get it. Who cares? I mean, I agree with you. He's an all-timer. I'm not in love with him, but I mean, that's me. I'm being harsh on him. Your overall point is well taken. The block shot against Iguodala, it was an incredible block shot. Probably helped him as much as the Irving shot win a championship in that Game 7 against Golden State that year. And he won a title for Cleveland. So to me, he made good when he left Miami. He went back to Cleveland and won a championship, which I think that he had to do, and he did. So he answered the box there, and he's still going strong. Now, listen, I don't know if he's going to win another one because I don't know where Dallas is. Luka, I just don't know where Dallas is. A lot of young teams in the Western Conference, but he's an all-timer, and it's unfair that he can take it. He gets, he's getting paid a fortune. He can take it. And the Stephen A thing was weird. He shouldn't be that worried about what Stephen A says about his kid. And, let's face it, they drafted Bronny because LeBron was a Laker. They never would have done that. They did it for LeBron. I didn't love that either. And he probably shouldn't have made a big deal about it. Who cares what anybody says about what you're, bottom line is, though, he's an all-timer. I'm with you. And I tell you, the NBA needs some juice here. They need a good Game 3, Dan.
Yes.
They need a good Game 3. Game 2 was a terrible game. Game 1 was only good in the last 5 minutes. The ratings have been terrible. They need a good Game 3 tomorrow night. That's important for the NBA. It really is. They need a good game.
This obsession with Aaron Rodgers, and now he's back. I mean, the amount of programming that Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James have been responsible for at networks is remarkable. That when they retire, there's going to be some real soul searching at networks to go, who are we talking about now? What are we talking about? And with Aaron Rodgers, I think this was a handshake deal. I think he's got great respect for Mike Tomlin. And, okay, he didn't go in early. I'd like to see that. But he's there. And he signed a team-friendly deal. I don't think it solves their quarterbacking problem. I mean, it kicks it can down the road for another year.
That's what it does.
But this is really more about the Steelers than it is Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers said, hey, here's the time frame. The Steelers, the proud franchise, they acquiesced to Aaron Rodgers. So I don't blame Rodgers other than, do you want to be great with this team, then get in there and get to know these players? Other than that, he took his time. He's been through this process before many, many, many times. The Steelers, to me, they bowed down.
Yeah, and I don't blame him, though, Dan. I mean, Mason Rudolph. I mean, I know the Steeler fan doesn't love it because I talk to him all the time. I'm sure you do, too. Well, you don't love it now, but if you let Randolph be the quarterback and you're 2-5 after week 7, you'd be booing and going crazy that you don't have a quarterback on your team. Now, I understand that Rodgers, last year with the Jets was certainly very uneven and not great. He wasn't great in the fourth quarter, but he did throw for 4,000 yards. I mean, he did throw a lot of touchdown passes and compared to interceptions and finished the season better. And he is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson, and he's a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph. The team is better than the Jets. They have a better defense. They got a better cultural situation. They got a better owner. They got a better, Tomlin's better than Saleh. So I think he's a year removed now from the Achilles. So he's, he should be a little better. I could care less if he didn't show up for the voluntary OTAs. Who cares? It's a long way to September 8th. I'm assuming he's going to be raring to go against the Jets that Sunday afternoon when he plays. What's the date on it? The 6th or 7th of September. I understand that it's only a one-year thing. I understand that you still don't have an answer for you at the position. But as far as the situation goes for the Steelers, they're a better team now than they were, let's say, a week ago with Mason Rudolph. So it's not ideal. He does suck a lot of oxygen out of the room. He'll drive you crazy with McAfee on a day in, day out basis. But they're a better team today than they were last week. They'll be more competitive this year in the AFC North. So I can live with it if I'm a Steelers fan myself. Year to year, anyway.
If I gave you one question to Aaron Rodgers, what would it be?
I can ask him anything?
Yeah.
One question. Wow. That's an interesting one. One question. The portrayal of you is you always think you're the smartest guy in the room. Because he does think that. He's smarter than you. And he wants to let you know it. Is that a false portrayal or is that an accurate portrayal? How's that? Something like that.
He'd probably say it's accurate.
Yeah, he probably would. He probably would. And let's face it, Danny, he hasn't been great recently. He hasn't been great in the big game. You know, he was bad against San Francisco in the playoff game. Remember that game in the snow when he didn't play very well?
Yeah.
No, he didn't play well against Brady when Tampa went there in the NFC Championship game. They kicked the field goal when they were down. You know, he didn't throw the ball in the end zone on that third down. Remember that famous play? You know, against Detroit, the last game of the year, or they would have won, they would have made the playoffs. He didn't play great in that game either. He didn't have a great year. So he hasn't been great in the last 3 or 4 years, and he's 42 years of age. So if you're one of those who thinks that, you know, he's way past his prime and he's no better than a little better than average, that's a hard one for you and me to argue if we think the Steelers are a better team with Rodgers at the quarterback spot. But the bottom line to me, I still think he's better than Wilson, and he's better than Mason Rudolph. So take your chances.
Thanks for combing your hair for this appearance.
Yeah, I did. I washed it. And I shaved, and I wore a nice sweater just for you.
I'd bring the beard back.
Yeah, maybe in the summertime. I'm going to Wimbledon for the first time. Did you know that?
I did not.
2 days. Never been. I'll be there the first 2 days of the tournament. Not working as a fan.
I think you'll be surprised when you go inside that it's smaller than what you think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I went to Notre Dame and I went to a game there first time, I got in there and it just felt smaller. You know, certain things on TV, they'll make it look larger. And you get in there and you're like, oh, wow. It's, like Fenway. First time you go to Fenway,
absolutely,
you're like, damn, that left field wall is right there.
Yeah, and it's tiny. It's city block, the whole bit.
But walking around Wimbledon, it's wonderful. There's so much to see. Yeah, so much to see. Yeah.
And I'm going to go the first 2 days. So if I don't say the first day, I'll be there so I can see Sinner one day because he'll be at the second seed, and I can see Alcaraz another day because they will split up the 2 seeds. So I'll be able to see both of them play.
Have you played Oakmont?
I have not.
Okay.
Have you?
Yes.
I hear it's great, right? It's impossibly hard.
I wouldn't want to play it again.
Too long?
But I loved it.
I mean,
it's just tough. It was just too tough. Yeah.
In the rough, you're dead. In the rough,
the greens are, lightning fast. If you're above the hole, forget it. That's where you tell somebody down at the bottom of the green, hey, would you stop my ball before it, rolls 50 yards? Yeah, but it'll be a challenge. And they make no excuses of they want this to be a challenge, and it certainly will be.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Good job, Danny. We love you, big guy.
Thank you, buddy. That's Christopher Mad Dog Russo. I like how Chris complimenting me. Good job.
He's the best.
Yeah. Mad Dog Unleashed, Sirius XM 82, and you can see him with Stephen A. Smith. All right, take a break. Last call for phone calls. What we learned, what's in store tomorrow after this.